Alexander Isak looks like he is set to join Liverpool for a British record fee of £125 million. But can Newcastle get a replacement before the transfer window closes at 7 o'clock this evening? They have agreed a deal to sign Johan Wissa for £55 million.
We're going to get straight to the biggest story of the window, really. Alexander Isak's potential British record move to Liverpool. Our reporter, Vinny O'Connor, is at Liverpool's training ground for us today. Vinny, where are we at? Because this one's developing all the time.
Yeah, a bit of breaking news to bring you as well, because Alexander Isak is in the building. That means his medical is now underway at Liverpool. He has, of course, agreed to sign a 6-year contract with the club ahead of that £125 million move from Newcastle, which will be a British record transfer fee. Of course, the potential for him to make his debut after the international break when Liverpool face Burnley. Then it's Atletico Madrid in the Champions League, of course, before the Merseyside derby at Anfield. But that deal clearly going to get over the line. And we just wonder what that means for Harvey Elliott now, because we also understand that he's attracting interest from Aston Villa. No offer on the table for him from Villa so far. There is an offer from RB Leipzig, but at the moment, that is way short of Liverpool's valuation of the player. And their stance was that if Liverpool were able to get in an attacking option, then Harvey Elliott could well be allowed to leave. Then there's the Mark Gay situation as well, still some way away from an agreement with Crystal Palace, who want £35 million plus around £5 million in add-ons as well. And clearly, if Liverpool don't get Mark Gay in, then Joe Gomez won't be allowed to leave. There was the opportunity, perhaps, or potential for him to go the other way. Of course, he's also attracting interest from AC Milan.
Well, I can tell you that Johan Wissa is here in Newcastle, completing his move to Newcastle United. It's after a £50 million deal was agreed with Brentford. Depending on where you hear it, some add-ons included in that as well. But a huge signing for Newcastle United. He was one of the key targets for Eddie Howe from the very start of the summer. Before any talk of Isak's departure, Wissa was one that they had sort of highlighted to come in for the departing Callum Wilson. It's taken a long time, it's taken a lot of hard work, but it appears now as though they're about to get their man. So Wissa will join Nick Voltermader in strengthening the attacking options. Of course, they'd already brought in Anthony Elanga, the winger. They brought in a new centre midfielder in Ramsey, as well as centre-back in Shaw, and a goalkeeper in Aaron Ramsdale. Spoke to some former players today who've said that this is one of the greatest transfer windows Newcastle United have had, despite, of course, the outgoing Alexander Isak.
We've already been to Liverpool once in the last few minutes. We have got some more breaking news, though, from the reigning Premier League champions. Rob Dorset is here to tell us all about it.
Hannah, this is a fascinating one, and it's all connected with what we've just been talking about with Mark Gay. I'm told that Liverpool have received an offer from AC Milan for Joe Gomez. I can tell you that exclusively. I found out in the last few minutes, and it would have been a substantive move to Serie A, not a loan deal for Joe Gomez, but it now looks unlikely that that deal can be completed in time for tonight's 7 o'clock deadline. Liverpool will categorically not allow Gomez to go unless they've got a replacement in. We know that they want Mark Gay, so in effect, they will only sanction a move for Joe Gomez to go to Serie A if they get Mark Gay in through the door. And that deal is still very much live. It's not dead in any way, but it might go later into the window tonight. And so I think everybody's taken a pragmatic view here and said, look, I don't think we can get Joe Gomez done after we've done Mark Gay. And so in effect, Joe Gomez hasn't been allowed to fly to Milan to have a medical, even though he was poised to do so. I've been told that the representatives of Gomez were talking with Milan's owners late last night. There's a little irony here, because Milan's owners, Redbird Capital, also have a stake in Fenway Sports, who own Liverpool. So it was a bit of an inside deal, if you like, in that sense. And whilst I've been told that they were close to thrashing out terms and agreeing a deal, Liverpool then pretty much pulled the plug and said, we're not allowing Joe Gomez to go unless we get somebody in. And actually, on a slot, is very keen to have both Mark Gay and Joe Gomez in his ranks. He came off the bench, didn't he, against Arsenal yesterday. So AC Milan interested, close to a deal, I was told, for Joe Gomez, but Liverpool have pulled the plug and said we don't think that can happen in time.
Alexander Isak has now finalised his highly anticipated move to Liverpool and is currently undergoing his medical on Merseyside, marking the final steps before what will become the most expensive signing in the club's history. Liverpool have agreed to pay £125 million upfront to Newcastle United. with the total package possibly rising to £135 million depending on performance-related add-ons and bonuses tied to appearances, goals and trophies. After days of speculation, twists and reports of a late U-turn by Newcastle, the deal accelerated rapidly in the final hours of the transfer window, with Isak flying into Liverpool earlier today to complete formalities. The 25-year-old Swedish striker was photographed arriving at the club's AXA training centre in Kirkby, where he is undergoing medical checks before putting pen to paper on what is expected to be a 6-year deal. Sources close to the club say the Isak signing is central to Arne Slot's tactical rebuild, as Liverpool look to add more cutting edge and versatility in attack following the departure of Darwin Núñez to Al Hilal. Isak, who scored 21 goals last season in the Premier League, is admired for his intelligent movement, calm finishing and ability to stretch defences, qualities Liverpool's front line has arguably lacked in recent seasons. Fans have already begun flooding social media with excitement, hailing the signing as a game changer and a clear statement of ambition, while pundits are already debating how Isak will fit alongside the likes of Mohamed Salah and Luis Diaz, assuming both stay. Liverpool are expected to officially announce the signing within the next 24 hours once medical tests are completed and final documentation is processed.
Harvey Elliott is edging closer to a departure from Liverpool this summer, with multiple sources confirming that the 22-year-old midfielder is exploring options for more regular first-team football following the club's sensational capture of Alexander Isak from Newcastle United. The £125 million move, which could rise to £130 million with add-ons, shattered Liverpool's previous transfer records and signals a bold new era under manager Arne Slot. Isak is expected to become the focal point of Liverpool's restructured attack, and while his arrival doesn't directly impact Elliott's position, it marks a shift in Liverpool's overall tactical approach toward a more direct and dynamic system that leaves limited space for fringe midfielders. With Darwin Núñez sold to Al Hilal, and Isak immediately filling that void, Slot and the club hierarchy have turned their attention to balancing the squad, making space not just financially, but also structurally. For Elliott, that means facing the reality that minutes will be hard to come by in a midfield already stacked with the likes of Dominik Szoboszlai, Florian Wirtz, Alexis Mac Allister, Curtis Jones, and Ryan Gravenberch, all of whom appear to be ahead of him in the pecking order. Elliott has been open in recent weeks about the possibility of moving on, admitting in interviews that he might have to be selfish and not allow himself to waste years on the bench during a key phase of his development. Liverpool, while still valuing Elliott highly, are reportedly open to a sale in the region of £40 million with a buyback clause, or £50 million without. According to sources close to the club, RB Leipzig, AS Roma, Brighton, and Aston Villa have all shown interest in the versatile midfielder, with Roma currently seen as a potential front-runner due to their offer of guaranteed starting time and a role in European competition. Meanwhile, Leipzig view him as a long-term replacement for Xavi Simons, should they fail to extend his loan. Internally, Liverpool see a possible departure as a necessary consequence of their current evolution, especially after a record-breaking outlay on Isak, and believe Elliott deserves a platform to play consistently. With just hours remaining in the transfer window, discussions are ongoing, and a deal could be finalized swiftly if the right terms are met.